No, I haven't seen the movie. I just wanted to hop on because you always be on my dick if I'm like like alive and awake and not joining the studio.
You know you're live, right?
We like having you. That's all it is.
It's
Martin,
okay. It's all right having him. It's not great.
Martin,
Shut up.
what do you take me for?
We grew up on television. The tube was our babysitter. Guidance through the tube. Moral sent by transmitter. This is where you go to get down to the know about great TV shows all on one show. It's time for some TGIF right here on Pop Culture Minefield. Thank God it's Friday on Pop Culture Minefield. Thank God it's Friday on Pop Culture Minefield. Thank God it's Friday on Pop Culture Minefield.
So yeah, that's how we start a show now. with Mephisto bitching about why he can't be on the show for very long.
With Martine and me freaking out because you don't get your ass into the studio until the very last minute.
I was in the wrong studio. I was like, where the fuck is it? Oh shit, wrong studio.
Yeah,
That would never happen to me.
Now you're in the wrong
Well,
spot, Jerry.
I'm doing 1,000,000,006 things like right now. Like literally the last hour, I did like 5 different things, major things, life-changing things.
What were their names?
Including hanging out with me.
Well, I would tell you that I wish they were girls' names, but they are not. They are instead like I'm in the middle of reapplying for disability, and they are expecting me to have like every fucking answer. Like, where did you live in 1994? And I'm like, fuck, I don't remember.
That's pretty similar
Who
to
broke
what we have to
military?
do for the visa.
Gary, just tell me this: who broke that lamp in 1973?
Yeah, see, it was
was
probably
you.
me. Yeah, it was,
It was
probably
you.
me.
That's
Yeah,
an
'cause-
old Eddie Murphy joke.
Well, the fact is, in '73, yeah, it was likely me that broke the lamp. In
Same.
1973, we lived in Decatur, Illinois. It was before my dad kidnapped me and took me into Virginia. And I remember I would get my sister Michelle into all kinds of trouble because we would get in trouble and we'd be made to stand in opposite corners from each other. And right when we finally got the green light to leave the corner, I would run over to her corner and grab an ottoman and climb up on it and pick my nose and put a booger up higher, so it looked like she did it. And she get her ass beat for it.
Perfection. Thank you, D-Bud, in the chat. Thank you.
Hey, D-Bud's here.
And read.
Hell, Gary. You know what's really funny? It's like I got to hang out with him over the weekend, and I was like, who the fuck is that guy down in the bottom left corner? And somebody goes, that's D-Bud Martin. I'm like, oh, good God, he's older than the photo. A lot older than the photo.
Shut up. D-Bud's the best. He had a birthday this
He is the
week,
best.
too.
He
See,
is
I remember. I remember. I mean, we don't know each other, but I remember.
We wish him a happy birthday this weekend.
I mean, look at the photo Gary's using on Twitter. You are older than you look at
That's
that
made
photo,
from a
so
modern
shut up.
picture of me. It's just AI, and they forgot to put the fucking gray in, even though it's in the command to put the gray in the hair.
Yeah, it just takes up 20 years all the time.
Do you remember I told you about the whole Adam Sandler bit? I got a comment about that this week.
Oh, again. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what other people see. I don't see, when I look at the mirror, I don't see Adam Sandler with or without glasses.
Well, your hair is very similar to his when he lets it grow out. you have a nose about at the same length, about the same distance from the top lip, and your chin and bottom lip are about the same distance. So that when you turn your head at certain angles and don't look up but look down, you look like Adam Sandler, which is why I made the joke and went, sure thing, Adam Sandler.
Yeah. I don't mind it. I just don't see it. It's not like a diss or something.
It's so
I can't
funny
control.
some people can't.
Well, that's other people, not me. I've been called way
No, I mean,
worse
some
than
people can't see it. They can't see it because all they can see is themselves. Whereas as a kid, I was constantly told that I looked like Donald Sutherland, Dick Van Dyke, and Stan Laurel. What all three of those have in common? Long faces, because I had a long face. And the smile is the thing that got me with Stan Laurel because I have a stupid, retarded grin that looks like Stan Laurel. Here, I'll show you. Ready?
So if you go to the bar, does the bartender say, "Why the long face"?
Why the long face? God, fuck you. Do we have that drum anymore, Martin?
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, well.
Not Martine. That's, I think, Meth. who has
That's
it.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, because we got a video of it too. That's even better. It's animated and it's funny. Bonjour, bonjour, mon ami.
Bonjour. But Mephisto, I totally get it because occasionally Gary would say that a certain actress reminds him of me. And I'm like, I don't see that at all.
There's one actress, she was like just resolute. I didn't see it. He almost acted offended about it. I'm like, yeah, crush on that actress. Like, what are you talking about? And
They are always way prettier than I am.
well, the one is Eve Arden from she was like Armis Brooks. She was so gorgeous, redhead, but she had a face that was just very friendly. She had beautiful blue eyes with red hair, just like my woman. And Anima I don't see it. I'm so incensed that you think that I look like that.
No, it's just weird.
I think it's
I
the
don't think I look like that.
woman I'm attracted to. So shut up.
You shut up.
Oh, sweet, sweet words of love.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I told
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I shut
just
the fuck up. So
What do you
I
mean?
just-
What?
I just finished a love war, and I not in the good way.
That's a good way.
I have a teenage daughter. It was arguing around the house.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
That was
Arguing
not
with my
fun.
daughter when she was a teen was like a whole new experience in my ability to find ways to have a fucking stroke.
Oh, I find ways to literally try to not lift hands. The amount
keep your
of
hands on your lap. Keep your hands on your lap. Pay close attention to keeping those hands down because
yeah.
I know you want to lift them and choke the fucking life out of them when they say some of the shit they say to you.
I don't want to punch. I would just want to slap.
Choke. I want
But
to choke.
it's
So grab her by the throat. I'm like, I swear to God, man. Somebody asked me like, "How's Zoe doing?" "Pretty good. How are you two doing?" "Oh, I love her bunches one moment, want to strangle her to death the next." Typical teens.
it's infuriating. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Plus, understand. I don't know how it works at a predominantly Christian house. For you guys, it's Saturday evening. For us, it's Friday evening. I don't mean
predominantly Christian.
Wait. Let me wait with this.
All right.
On
go ahead.
Friday evening is where the Sabbath sets in over here. Outside, it is dead. There is no sound. There's barely any cars moving. Dead. Because I live in a zone where it's not really religious, but it's filled with Orthodox religious people. So there is 0 people on the street, 0 cars moving here and there, but it's very quiet. And when there's yelling at 9 p.m., all the neighborhood can hear you. So that you're trying to do is diffuse and just say what you want to say, but be quiet, and it doesn't go away. It just goes shriekier.
Sounds like you need
and
the code of
shriekier.
silence.
Yeah.
no, to me it sounds like you
from
have
Get
Friday
Smart.
night reality TV for your neighborhood.
You need the cone of silence from Get Smart. Because
No.
it doesn't work. It doesn't
No.
work. The
Doesn't
best
work.
thing to do is to create a room that has sound absorbing foam on the walls, just for when you need to argue. We're going in here. We are going.
Yeah.
No, we're going in here.
That I don't think that'll work, but maybe.
Maybe it's like a music studio. Just create one, and it's like, is this your music studio? It's like, no, this is where I ream the shit out of my daughter.
This
Or
is
my
the
wife and I
argument.
fight.
This is the argument room.
Exactly.
I mean, I know it sounds shitty, but any parent that has teenage daughters, specifically daughters, although it might go into like father-son situation, but I'm waiting on that one.
Not for me. My sons were retarded. They were super smart. They were just so easy to work with. It's like, hey, you need to wait here until I get back. And then when I got back, they were still waiting for me. My daughter was her own fucking boss.
All I'm saying is I'm pretty sure it's not going to be shrieky. Yeah.
Dude, let me tell you, one of the meanest things ever said to me by my daughter was, this was the night that she moved out, and she turned and she just, the look that she had for me was utter hatred, like loathing level hatred. That's where not only do you hate someone, but you've lost respect for them. And I'm just sort of looking at her going, that's an interesting look. And she says, you think you're different than your father, but you're just like him. And I remember my retort was, baby, if that was true, you'd be unconscious on the floor right now.
Yeah, and I had a belt in my hand, and it's with the buckle side towards you.
Buckle side towards you. Oh my God. You're brutal. Hey, there was a discussion earlier.
By the way, just so we're clear, my dad never gave me the lashing. My dad hit me just once in my life.
Did he
when I was a
threaten you?
kid?
Did he threaten you?
It
Because
was
that's the same thing.
No.
In my opinion. Because he just only has to do it once.
When I broke the fan, I'm not even joking here, broke the fan, lied about breaking the fan, and he hit me on my ass so hard. It was red. I couldn't sit, but that was the one time and the only time he hit
you with
me.
a belt?
No. Palm.
Hand.
Palm.
That meant he felt it too. That's,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with, no, I like that. I think that hitting with a belt, you don't feel it as much. And, but anyway, we got into a conversation earlier, Anna and I, and it was kind of a disagreement. And she says, well, then they're not Jewish. I said, yes, there's cultural Jewish, race Jewish, and then there's religious Jewish. They're two different things. They're often the same person, but sometimes they're not because they're secular Jews.
I did
And
not
they're
say
Christian
that.
Jews.
I did not say
And
that.
she did
No.
disagree with me. But then once we got around to it, she was like, yeah, but I said, I'm going to ask Mephisto to explain this because
No.
I know you're a secular Jew.
You are putting this
Yes.
completely out of context, Gary. It was about Carl, what's his name, who made
Carl
this
Reiner,
movie.
because Carl
Yeah.
Reiner was a Jew.
No, he
and
told
yes,
me his
he was
name,
born
and
in
I said
Austria.
he's German or Austrian, and he's like, no, he's Jewish. But I wanted to just find out his nationality aside from being Jewish. I never say he's not Jewish. That's just
What, Meph? You were about to say something.
I was going to say she should ask me, but I understand what she said right now. It's fine. I get it. There's no point in me
wanted
interjecting.
to know where he comes from with that name, because that's such a German name.
Reiner?
Yeah,
German, I think.
Austrian.
Pretty
Merman? Is it Ethel
Austrian?
Merman?
It could be German.
Is it Ethel Merman?
It's the same thing.
Well, his roots are Austrian, but that's a very common name in both places. There's like some names,
Ethel Merman was a Yahtzee. I said it.
some names just scream Austrian, some scream Germany, and a lot of them go for both countries. Just German-speaking
Now-
countries, Switzerland too.
I do wonder sometimes in this film if when he says the line Heinemacke Frau, if that is a mixture of Yiddish. German.
Reinemacherfrau. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they say that in like the 50s or 40s. They call
I
it
don't know,
Reinemacher. I'm from
because
Austria,
he
we
says
say Putzfrau.
he's sitting there like, what does that mean? What does that mean? It means cleaning woman.
Yeah.
Cleaning woman. I love that.
That's what we use in Austria is Putzfrau. Means clean woman.
And do you guys know where that joke comes from? The
No.
cleaning woman gag. It
No.
comes from the classic Niagara Falls joke, which was used both by Abbott and Costello, and I do believe that the Three Stooges used it too. Where anytime this guy heard the words Niagara Falls, it reminded him of how his wife left him on their honeymoon at Niagara Falls. And so he would go into a strangling rage. And that's where that came from.
Well,
I
if we're
remember-
on
Remember Costello.
the Germanic language, I just want to say, Anima, up until I met you, my favorite Austrian was Arnold Black.
Yeah, I know. That to this day is Gary's favorite Austrian. I'm just in second place.
No. You are my favorite Austrian. My second favorite Austrian is Arnold Black.
Actually,
He's a Schwarzen Egger.
I get that, but Egger doesn't mean
I know.
Yeah.
We joked about this before.
But
Yeah.
there's
'Cause
an
it sounds
N
like
there,
another
and
word.
it's funny.
no.
I know his name isn't Black. It's
It's just a joke.
that combination does
Yeah,
not
I know, I
actually
get
fit
it.
within the German language. The very little I know of it, Schwarzen and the other word
Egger.
don't actually go together, but it's Egger.
Yeah.
So let's get to some comments here. Slasher Fred says it's amazing how you talking about Adam Sandler because both him and Steve Martin were on SNL. Well, the big difference being that one was a host and the other one was a member of the Not Ready for Prime Time. But he has hosted too, Adam Sandler. So they are both now hosts. But I do believe Steve Martin has the most hosts of SNL.
Yeah, but
right?
he was never a cast member.
No, never. But he has the most hostings for SNL, right?
It's
he's been going since the first.
It's because his affiliation with Chevy Chase and the whole Three Amigos thing. That's where people get kind of confused. But yeah, they've. I think you guys covered Three Amigos before. They've never met until
we had,
that movie.
the
But then when
assistant
they
director
did
on.
meet and like Steve, like Martin Short was in the business, they had a really good chemistry and they were sitting around. They had their own clubhouse or whatever they've got, like their own trailer that they could hang with. And yeah, apart from meeting Chevy Chase and SNL, they never actually did anything together.
Yeah.
And Steve Martin was never on SNL apart from being a host. And I think
He knows.
by the time he was a host, I'm not sure Chevy Chase was even on the cast. But I don't remember. That's like late 70s stuff.
Okay, Slasher Fred knows the joke about Niagara.
Okay.
Niagara Falls, slowly I turned, step by step, inch by inch, and then lunges and grabs the person by the throat. It's funny. Anyway, that's where that gag comes from, and Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid is from that classic. This is where you delve deep, Mephisto, into my deep knowledge of old fucking comedies, black and white comedies. I grew up on that shit, and I still watch them regularly. I found that on Tubi, they have classic Abbott and Costello TV shows, which all they did on that is they reiterated many of their classic sketches just into the show. And it's really nice. Something they did in the 50s. Laurel and Hardy did the same thing, as did the Three Stooges.
I saw a few like Abbott and Costello stuff, old stuff. Never connected with it. I think I was too young for it. However, we had a lot of Laurel and Hardy stuff, mostly the silent stuff that still worked for me. I don't know what it was. Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin was.
Oh yeah.
I really connected with that, even though I was really young at the time. But that was what I got on TV. So
And they were all friends,
One thing-
by the way. Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy, all those guys became very
Yes. Well,
chummy.
they all came out of vaudeville. They all knew each other.
Yeah,
Yep.
they all knew each other.
And I mean,
By the
and
way,
other-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
just a little bit of trivia on the Abbott and Costello TV show. Their landlord, who never appeared in person on camera, you only ever heard his voice, was played by Mel Blanc.
that's
And
great.
if
I'm
somebody
not surprised.
and when somebody rang the bell, it was one of those buzzers. As long as you hold the button down, the buzzer rings and the bell,
Right.
to ring the doorbell. And the person would stand there and they'd hold the buzzer. And after about a second and a half, you'd hear a Scottish voice from upstairs screaming out the window, "Stop pressing the button! You're letting out all the electricity."
Letting out all the electricity.
Yeah,
like
that was Mel Blanc.
Yeah, he was good at doing the voice stuff for shows. And he
Oh my
did. He
God,
appeared on
yeah.
other stuff, Jack Benny, all that stuff.
Oh, yes.
In fact, he was Jack Benny's car. The sound of
Yes, he
Jack Benny's
was.
car was Mel Blanc. I stopped it here because I wanted to point out that Carl Reiner has done so much shit that I love, including his TV work, because I love the Danny Thomas show. I loved Time for Father, which became Dick Van Dyke show. He did so much great stuff. And in my opinion, Carl Reiner has only made one thing that was absolute garbage, and that's Rob Reiner.
Well, Carl Reiner, because I know this is, I remember when he and Steve Martin were collaborating on these films, when they were coming out in theaters. Carl Reiner and Steve Martin did, 4 films together where Reiner directed and Steve Martin starred in it. And this, by the way, this one, Dead Men That Wear Plaid, was Carl Reiner's favorite film that he's directed. When he started with Steve Martin had a very bad tendency, coming from stand-up, to absolutely destroy his character by coming up with an ad lib that he couldn't resist using. And it would screw up the character, it would take him out of character. And Reiner kept trying to convince him, you'll be more effective as a comic actor if you stay in character and then make the jokes land. And I think this was the first movie that they did together where Martin finally gained the discipline to stay in character.
Yeah, reading the lines, do the lines, stick with the lines. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And the true test of it was that when he made one other movie that Carl Reiner was not involved with, and he took the lessons to heart when he made Roxanne. So this
absolutely,
was the
and
first.
I love that movie too.
Yes.
We will be doing that.
Yeah.
I paused here for a reason, because it is true that the title of the film is unnecessarily said in the movie.
Yep.
It has no meaning. There's no meaning to the fucking line, but it is said in the movie, and I have it right here.
When I arrived in Carlotta, I thought of the words Marlowe had said to me over 15 years ago. Dead men don't wear plaid.
It's just such a stupid line. Like,
That's about
what
an
the
hour
fuck
into
does
the
it
movie
even
or
mean?
something.
Wasn't it clowning the old detective noir
Yes.
pulp
Yeah,
stuff
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
had really weird names?
What they would do, what they went for was absolutely going for first the absurdist humor, because there was something that both Steve Martin and Carl Reiner loved deeply, is absurdist humor, where you say something that is so non sequitur, it makes you laugh.
Well, according to IMDb's trivia, the title refers to Martin's character telling a story about a woman who was obsessed with plaid in a scene that was ultimately cut from the film. So they simply, because of what you said, hey, we just need to have a reference to it. We don't need to explain it. It doesn't have to make any sense.
Doesn't have to make any sense.
Doesn't have to make any
I love-
sense. That's going to be the title of the film. And that's how
I
they
love
put
that.
it in. It was originally in a scene, but they said, no, they cut that from the film and made an absurdist joke out of the title, which is great.
Now, Edith had, I pause here for a reason, because Edith had, this was her last movie before she died. And she absolutely worked on almost every film that they show in the movie as clips. She was also the costumer on those films. She has been around for a long time. Oscar-winning costume designer. Beautiful designs. I mean, she dressed so many male leads and female actresses. Also for the Oscars. She would design many of the dresses for the Oscars. And that she got to do this film before she died is such an awesome thing. And you know, by the way, Edith Head is parodied with the dwarf lady in The Incredibles. She's so loosely based on Edith Head.
Yeah.
Partially.
Edith
Part of it is
Head-
based on somebody else, but what she does is based on Edith Head.
Yes, Edith Head designed. This is again from trivia, and IMDb. Designed a total of 20 suits for Steve Martin to wear that were in the style of those worn by Cary Grant and James Stewart during their classic era Hollywood pictures. So,
well, he actually uses the back of Cary Grant's head in one scene to be him when it's actually Cary Grant, and that's why that had to match. And what they did in this film that's amazing is they tried to match the film stock, but it just doesn't work because as some of the movies age, the contrast changed. And so they couldn't match the contrast. But what they did match in this is the costumes, the sets, and the lighting. So all the lighting and the sets match the scenes they're interacting with.
Yeah,
And
but that white suit you just shown where he said the name of the movie
America. Yeah.
is very Casablanca rather than Cary Grant or Jimmy Stewart.
Now, correct me
I'll
on
put
this
that
one.
aside. I'll put that aside.
Well, I think that's important because who played Rigby, Mr. Rigby, in that film? Do you guys remember? Because that might very well have been Bogart.
In Casablanca?
No, in the movie they show, the clip they show with Charles.
I haven't seen the movie. I'm here
By the way,
just to placate you, Gary.
Oh, you placate me.
The last time I've seen the movie,
I'm not saying I'm gay, but if I were, you're the guy.
Seriously, the last time I've seen this movie was around 20 years ago.
Yeah, same here.
Well, it's a film that stays with you because, like, Anima goes, "That's where you got that from," because I've been making that joke since high school. Because of this movie.
What, the adjusting of the breasts?
Yeah. Well, no. What was it I used, honey? I forgot. And you laughed. You go, "Oh, that's where you get that from." Anima has left the show.
Oh,
she's feeding the cat. She's feeding the cat.
Oh,
Echo.
Probably you, Gary.
Anima has left the studio and is feeding the cat. Let's hope she has all her fingers and toes when she gets back. So,
and a minimal number of Band-Aids.
Yeah, she has a band. She's had a Band-Aid on for a few days because she sliced her head. She was shocked when I told her this entire scene with the car is from an old movie and it was a miniature the whole time. They made really good miniatures back then.
Because they had to. It's out of necessity.
That's Commandant Lessard from the Police Academy films.
George Gaines?
Yes, George Gaines. He's only in that one photo, and at the end of the movie, you just see him. He doesn't really talk. He's just sitting there with his fake beard and fake wig. There she is, just so fucking beautiful. She had already met her husband when she was on the Thornbirds and was already married to that guy, lucky bastard. She's really one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. And she really wasn't in that many films. This was one of her big ones, Thornbirds and Against All Odds. And I don't know if I remember really in anything else.
What's her name again? Rachel
Ward.
Yep.
And like Blade Runner. By the way, this is a film that came out around the same time as Blade Runner. And it made its money compared to Blade Runner, which did not. But I've always said that if they didn't get Harrison Ford, you know who should have played Rick Deckard? Fucking Steve Martin.
Yep.
He really nails that look. And he looks a little bit like Harrison Ford.
He looks a lot like Ford and has the same voice. I think they may be related
You think they're related? Okay.
Yeah.
He is actually really a good actor.
Especially in this movie, his deadpan narration matches exactly like Ford did in the
Blade Runner.
theatrical.
Yeah. I think he did. I got to be honest. I think he did a better job of the narration than Ford did. Even though I still love the theatrical cut of Blade Runner. I love how like he's like talking about like making babies with her. He kisses her. He's already kissed her. You know, he's like shaking her. The way he shakes her is so fucking funny. Because first he does this shake, and then he does the side to side shake, and then he puts his arm under her and he just fucking lip locks with her. Then takes her over and readjusts her boobs when she wakes up right in the middle of it. And he goes, they fell out of whack. And the killer of the joke is when he backs away from her breasts and does this. There, they're even.
Yeah. By the way,
Hey, look at this comment from Reed.
Parody.
Absolutely. When he was younger, he should have. It's too late now.
It's too late now. Yeah.
Look
You know what movie
at
she
him.
did right before this one? She had a role in Sharky's Machine.
Oh my God, she was the hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. She's great in that. I love that movie, and I want to do that movie so bad. Fucking love Sharky's Machine, because that had an impact on me on my writing. I enjoyed the basic themes and characters of that story. It's a classic detective story, modern noir.
Yeah.
You must be quite a Dodgers fan. No. The front page, not the back page. The fucking gags in this just killed me. Now, I would say this, that Anima laughed at probably about 70% of this movie because I heard her chuckle. So that made me happy because this is one of my favorite films of all time. It is on my top 20 list of all time.
Wow, that high. It's so weird. What's everybody's like top
It's because
20
I was
list?
18 and it had an impact on me. If a film had an impact on me when I was younger, it's never moving. It's staying there. Even though I look at this film and I know that it's, there are a lot better films than this. I fucking love this movie because it had an impact on me with my own comedy.
I'll give you one of my top 20 that nobody has on their top 20, probably.
Okay.
Pump
let's
Up the
see.
Volume with Christian Slater.
It is on my top 100
Yeah.
because I do like that film.
It
Radio.
has,
It was a good film. I
it
was in the
has
Army when it
way
came out.
more meaning to me today than it had back in 1990 for different reasons.
Well, all of us are kind of like that do these shows.
Yeah.
Because YouTube can't stand some of us. And we know they don't like us. They wish we weren't on their fucking service. But we are.
I'm not terribly sure about that, but okay.
We break rules. And they're always
I
trying to
don't.
catch us.
I
I
don't.
do. I
How
do.
dare we get good numbers sometimes?
Yeah, I noticed that when they're not paying attention, man, our numbers are great. And then all of a sudden they're back to whoosh.
Yeah, and we lose 900 subs all of a sudden out of nowhere within a
Uh,
In 5 days we lost almost 1,000
I
subs.
I saw you complain about that, and I went to like Social Blade because Social Blade is not accurate. I know from my channel it's not accurate, but you definitely see this if you put in views that go up and then subs that go down. It's really funny.
And our views are up.
We've
We've been on an incline for a few months, so we watch that.
Not to get
we
too
watch it
technical.
closely.
Not to get too technical, it's not a bad thing for views to go up and subs to go down. That means the subs that were subbing to you that are no longer subbing to you have been flushed out of the system, which actually helps your view impressions
Well, that's
and
interesting.
make your views go up. It means your audience is being shortened, but the amount of active viewers are becoming larger, meaning you're experiencing a growth spurt. So don't worry. It's not the subs, it's the impressions and views. If those go up, you're happy.
Interesting.
Absolutely. By the way, they promoted the crap out of it at the Virginia theaters where we saw it. RC Theaters there in Fredericksburg, Virginia, where I grew up. And we got promos before almost every movie for 2 weeks before it came out. And I love it. We went to the movies. I mean, this is back because I grew up poor. We could afford to go to fucking movies every week because it's so affordable to go to them. And what they've done now, they say, oh, well, this movie made so much money. I said, well, how much do you charge for tickets now? What's important is how many people went to see your fucking movie? Because they're going, well, our Teenage Mutant Turtle movie made the same amount the first weekend as the original 1990 film. I'm like, yeah, you say that, but how many people went to see that 1990 film compared to, it's like 1/3 of the audience went to see the
right
new
back.
Turtles movie compared to the ones that went to see the 1990 film. So the studios are full of shit when they say, well, this movie's, no, they're making money because you overcharge now for everything in the theaters.
Yeah, that's why they stopped talking about viewers and talk just about grossing.
And all the time I was gross now. And it's wrong because viewership is down. People are tired of going to movies and having to pay so much for it. I remember I got pissed back in, I think it was 2011. I went to see the A-Team with my daughter because I worked on the graphic novel for the movie. And my daughter was like, my dad should get him free. I was like, no, shut up. But I said, I'll go get us something. So I went to the counter and I got us a hot dog with chili, a small popcorn, and 2 sodas. And it was a chili dog. Do you know how much that was? I'll never forget.
About $45.
Actually, less than that. It was $32.75 for a chili dog, a small popcorn, and 2 fucking sodas.
Yep.
$32. And I remember saying to the cashier, 32, I could hire a midget to feed that to me for 15 at home.
And they wonder why the home theater business is exploding.
Wonder why. The way he smokes cigarettes in this is funny. Because he holds them in a weird way that's not really the typical way that the gumshoe actors did, Bogart and all that. They did it with the upper lip. There she is. Ava Gardner. Absolute fucking psychotic in real life. Read up about her. Some of the shit she fucking did. Gable was just about ready to fucking bang her. And she, crazy shit. No, wait, no, I'm thinking of another actress. He was crazy too. Princess Grace Kelly. She was also fucking nuts. And he was about to bang her, and she threw up in his tent, and any idea of wanting to have sex with her was gone. But with Ava Gardner, she was seeing or was married to Frank Sinatra at the time, and she did a film with Gable, and apparently they were banging and led to an interesting confrontation. She was batshit crazy. And people like her neighbor, another famous guy, I forget who it is, said that, yeah, she's my next door neighbor. What's she like? He goes, there's a lot of screaming in that house. Sometimes in the middle of the night. Now, this is a great movie. It's him, Alan Ladd, Sr., and Veronica Lake, who is famous because she had that hair that went over her eye. And she had a tragic fucking life. Died at age 50 from kidneys and liver disease.
I've got a little show and tell. Okay.
All right.
I just remembered because you were talking about ticket prices. I was like, I found something. So this was in my car. I got today from my mom. This is a CD from Pulp Fiction. Okay. Not, everybody had this back in the day, I think. Right. But when you open it up, has something special. It is broken though. Has something really special. Can tell what this is?
Oh, hold on. Let me enlarge. I'm engorging you now.
What she said.
Oh, it's blurred.
I know it's blurred.
It's in Hebrew.
Yeah, it's with some. So it's a ticket stub when I went to see it. It's a, it's
shit.
It's a 9:30. It's a 9:30 p.m. showing, and there we go. 20. That's 20 shekels, which back in the day it was about $5 in 1994. That was the whole point. Now, first of all, to have a ticket stub from back in the day is basically a non void. But I just like $5 was not a lot. I was a teenager back then. It wasn't a lot. I could afford to go to a movie every single week. I think I went every couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. Between 94 and 98, I've seen all the releases that were in like wide releases back in the day. Fond memories of going to the movies in the 90s, especially.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Same here.
Please go on, because you said like this movie's in your top 20. I thought, well,
it's in my top 20 because of the impact.
You got to give it a little bit of a backstory of, yeah.
So, but this clip is with Alan Ladd and actually with Veronica Lake, because you'll see a clip from this later with the Veronica Lake character from this movie called This Gun for Hire. He is a hitman. And he's cold as ice. He is absolutely heartless. And Alan Ladd did an amazing job in this character. It's a good film. If you've never seen it, classic noir, really good. I love this where he's like realizing he's in trouble and he does that fucking dance move to avoid a bullet.
I love how he keeps getting shot in the same spot in his left
He gets
arm.
shot in the same hole.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Not just the same arm.
Yeah. It's the
He
same
says, that's
spot.
never gonna
It's
heal.
never gonna heal.
She always has to suck the bullet out. Like, what's with that? That's not how you get a bullet
Something
out.
I learned in camp. They taught it in camp, and she goes, well, originally it was for snake poison, which she meant venom. But anyway, it's fucking funny. And I've always wondered in this scene, did he actually pass out? But I guess he did, because it always seemed like he was faking being out in order to play dead. But no, apparently he's unconscious.
Well, he keeps getting handed spiked drinks, and he doesn't learn. He's always accepting.
Yeah, he never learns. Yeah, his character never learns.
And because you said I was laughing like at 70%, it wasn't that much. I didn't mind watching this. I had fun.
Here it is.
Sometimes, but
Anima.
go over the top.
This is it. The scene that you asked me to clip.
Yeah. Are you going to show it?
And I do like, yeah, I'm going to fucking show it. I got to wait till it gets to it.
Okay. Jesus
Christ.
Well,
pushy.
The idea that he never learns, and he never does. I mean, it just occurred to me. There's something of Peter Sellers, Inspector Clouseau in this character.
Absolutely.
He's a complete screw up. He's
a buffoon.
Yes, he's a buffoon. He solves the case in spite of himself, not because he's the world's greatest detective.
Isn't that what Tommy Lee Jones said to Jim Carrey when he says, I hate you?
You're a buffoon.
I hate you. I cannot.
I can stand your buffoonery.
No, it's not stand. He says, I cannot. What is the word he used? Your buffoonery. I cannot, condone. It's a word that means condone or similar to condone your buffoonery. And I just it's like, he was like going, get away from me. I want to kill you right now. Kind of thing. But here's the clip.
You look as though you're going to faint. Never catch me. Sadly, I'm a butler, not a catcher.
I'm the butler, not the ketchup.
And that just takes me right to Star Trek, where McCoy
Yes.
keeps saying, I'm a whatever. And then Picardo shamelessly stole it. And my favorite one from Picardo is, I'm a doctor, not a nightlight. Early on, when they just leave sickbay without deactivating him. That was funny.
Well, in the original, they made a joke out of that because in the original series, and I wish Clobby were around to correct me if I'm wrong. I only remember one scene, one instance of McCoy saying that. They put it in later material, but the first one was with that stone creature. You know, can you heal him, Bones? And Dr. McCoy looks up at Kirk and says, "I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer."
Yep.
He had a couple moments like that.
Okay, I found it. He says, I hate you. I really don't like you. And Jim Carrey's like, oh, what's the problem? And he says, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. It's like, what a great fucking thing to say to somebody that you don't like. I cannot sanction buffoonery. Oh my God. Tommy Lee Jones, man.
It's a poetic diss.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
And the thing that sucks is like their big scene was the next day. And Jim Carrey was just on pins and needles the whole time. But Tommy's a pro. He'll come down on you if you fuck up. And you'll hear nightmare stories about him. It's like, do you know how? I forget the director's name that did the Addams Family movies back in the 90s and then did Men in Black. And
Barry Sonnenfeld.
Yeah, Barry Sonnenfeld. They asked him, how did you get Tommy Lee Jones? He says, I cried. And they're like, what? He goes, oh, I wept. And he couldn't tolerate it. And he just agreed. Because he wouldn't stop crying to get him to be in the fucking movie. That's fucking brilliant.
Yep.
I love Barry Sonnenfeld. I think he's hilarious.
Well, but yeah, Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black is probably my favorite role he's ever done.
Absolutely, one of my favorites.
He's just such a great straight man in that movie. For all of the insanity going on, you know, to start talking or I'll shoot you where it'll grow back, or shoot you where it hurt down, shoot you where it don't grow back. And he goes, "Do you know how much that stings?" Oh,
so
yeah, he is. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I pause it in order to say something about the scene because the joke here is so fucking great. Because this is, of course, what is it? Not When a Stranger Calls. It's with Burt Lancaster and Barbara Stanwyck. I remember the film. I've seen it multiple times.
Wrong
and
number?
Stanwyck, it might be it. That might be it. Wrong number. And she's being harassed, and you find out that it's actually the guy she's in love with that's involved with it. But he ends up feeling so bad that he ends up getting shot because he resists the main guy behind it. But Stanwyck plays the crazy sister of Rachel Ward in the film. And she says, it's my sister. She's talking crazy. And he goes, I'll know she's crazy with one word. And he gets on the phone and she says, hello? And he covers the phone and she goes, yeah, she's certifiably insane. Because all she says is hello. I love this because her dialogue doesn't match anything that he's saying because she's insane. That's how they got that to work. Brilliant fucking comedy.
Yes.
I just talked to him. He just called from Chicago. Oh my God. Look at her there. Look at her there. That is why she was absolute cheesecake in the 80s.
Oh, she was.
I love what she calls it.
Sorry, called you fruitcake.
Yeah, fruitcake. That was great.
Like apologizing for calling her names.
Your sister has a lot to learn about phone courtesy.
So many funny lines in that movie. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Favorite lines is the bar on 5th Street had cashed so many rubber checks, it bounced all the way over to 8th Street.
Yeah.
Like, what a great fucking joke.
I also like when he takes the soup from the waiter, claiming it has too much jewelry in it because she drops the jewelry.
Yes, right. Sorry, wrong number. Yep, that's it. Thank you, Gambit. Thank you.
My problem is
Great
that
fucking movie.
the whole joke about the cleaning lady, that's so over the top.
Oh, here it is.
I annoyed by that.
It is absolutely from the Niagara Falls joke. Anybody who knows vaudevillian humor knows this joke.
It's too over the top for me.
It's done for a reason, because you have to have that thing to have a payoff later, that he's got a thing that sends him off the edge. And it's a comedy. It's absurdist comedy, and you can't get mad when one joke is absurd in a way that you don't like. That's tough shit, baby. I love you.
It's
That's
not
too
just
fucking
that.
bad.
You know, over the top silly to me is not funny.
The whole fucking movie is over the top silly, and you still laughed at it. So
it's still
you can hush
tolerable.
up.
It's still tolerable. Like
Animal
House or Strange Brew, I fucking hated watching these movies.
Look at
one
this
was
angle
okay.
here. Everybody pays attention to the joke, and they're not catching the amazing cinematography in this fucking movie.
Man, this movie looks beautiful.
It really does. When you
But they
stop looking for the comedy and just watch the movie, it's beautifully shot.
And it has to be in order to fit him in to the movies.
All those movies.
All of those movies. I mean, one of the things that I've heard and watched analysis of is nothing but the lighting and cinematography from Casablanca, which is, similar era, 1940s. And Casablanca is a masterclass in how to film in black and white. It really is. And that's anybody I know who's somebody who's younger, including Mrs. Redshirt. She's not a huge fan of black and white movies. My stepdaughters, if they're like, no, I don't like black and white movies, I go, well, then you need about an hour and a half, and we're going to watch Casablanca. And you watch that movie,
and then, I bet that changed her mind.
Yeah, and tell me you don't like this movie by the time it ends. Because
another great film to watch in black and white that was originally in black and white is the one shot in Austria with Orson Welles. I forgot the name of it.
The Third Man.
The Third Man. Thank you. That is gorgeous.
Yeah,
that was shot for black and white. It was made for black and white with the way they did the lighting.
Started making Austria, especially Vienna, so popular as a filming location. That started the whole thing where Vienna stands in for Russia, for instance.
Yeah.
That put Austria and Vienna on the map for movie making.
Oh, I love this one. Everything was cheap. Even the prostitutes are having a sale. And this is it right here. The check gag is right here.
Yeah.
Rubber checks that bounced across town, across to 8th Street, some shit like that. Cinematography is more than beautiful. It's amazing fusion of soft focus lighting and great atmosphere. Because again, they had to match the films of the period. This one too, again, The Lost Weekend is it's a hard film to get through, but it's good. I mean, the reward of this film is making it to the end, because it's a hard film to get through.
I've done probably some of the best still photography I ever did was when I forced myself to work 100% in black and white with an SLR camera, a couple of lenses, and go around and look for things where what it looked like would be interesting if it didn't have any particular color. And all of a sudden, when you start looking at the results of black and white photographs, or in this case, rushes or what have you, you start to notice things like forms. And the biggest one is you get very, very particular about lighting. If a cloud goes over the sun, it's either the perfect time to shoot this or it's the wrong time.
Yep.
And you either shoot while you have the perfect light or you wait for the sun to come back out and increase the contrast. And that's one of the things that people miss about black and white, because they've never had a black and white television, which I did, but I'm old.
Which most of us grew up
I'm almost as old as
Yeah.
dirt. I'm about the same age as Gary. The black and white just has a different priority for the cinematographer. It's not color's not better. Color's different. Is the best way to put it. And
Right.
if you start paying attention to the way black and white films, the good ones, don't look at bad ones, because bad ones are just bad with no color in them, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
Looking at really classic black and white films is a phenomenal way for anybody to learn photography, cinematography, because the constraints are severe compared to shooting in color. And basically,
Well, you're taught, like, because I shot in black and white film for films,
right?
But first I want to make two jokes. One, my favorite black and white film is Silver Streak. Next, I also won a few awards for black and white photography. I hired someone else to take. Ray, yes, that was a joke, Mephisto. I hired someone to I won awards.
You don't understand.
That I hired someone.
I've got something about light and shadow, not in black and white, in color, but it does involve Star Trek.
Well, what we're taught, just so you know, though, before you do, I wanted to say this, is we were taught in film school to use a yellow filter on the camera for black and white film because it enhances shadow. And this comes from old school black and white filmmaking.
It accents contrast.
Yeah.
That's why they sell yellow ski goggles. If you're skiing in flat light, which means there are no shadows and you can't see bumps and contour changes in the snow, wearing clear yellow goggles will increase the contrast.
Which is why they call those sunglasses HD sunglasses. They're not HD, they're just yellow.
Right.
And it helps with the contrast. Now, what were you going to say, Mephisto?
Right.
I was going to say, after the first Star Trek movie, when not Harv Bennett, is it Harv Bennett that took over? Can't remember the name, the producer. He said that he could do all the Star Trek stuff for cheap.
It's because he's an asshole.
Part of the issue they solved with making it cheap is building less of the ship and using the shadows to hide like the unfinished set buildings that they've done. So they had very minimal sets, but they kept using them in different configurations, and they kept using light and shadow to confuse you and thinking you're like, oh, it's a different hallway or it's a different passageway or that and the other. And they used that in Wrath of Khan. And up until the fifth one. The fifth one was bigger budget, and plus Shatner was on board. So,
Shatner's big mistake is he listened to Harv Bennett. Leonard Nimoy warned him, and he learned his lesson in Star Trek V. So the reason I paused this like 4 minutes ago, was because I needed to go into the joke here. Great fucking joke. She says, "What is fuck?" Fuck. And he says, that's when a man and a woman fall in love. And he puts his and before he can say penis, she says, no, FOC. And he goes, oh, Friends of Carlotta, which is part of the plot of this film, is a list of Friends of Carlotta and EOC, enemies of Carlotta. So now I can hit play again. And I love the locations they use too when they shoot in LA. Look at that smog.
Yes.
Even the camera picks it up. Black and white. LA didn't look like that back then.
Was that on location? It looks like it's a studio.
No, it's when I say location, it's an actual exterior, not inside.
Okay.
They're an exterior. And I'm sure where they shot most of the film. I know some of the locations are in old LA or the backlot, the Warner backlot, because there are quite a few shots from the Warner backlot.
I was going to say it could have been Griffith Park, but that doesn't seem right in terms of scenery. What you can actually watch from Griffith Park.
All of the let me back it up. All of the interior car scenes are done in the classic 40s and 30s way, which is a cutaway car. It's a cut car, fake dashboard. It's just a wheel being held up for the actor with lights on him, and a projected. They used rear screen projection back then.
Yes.
Which is not as good as front screen projection.
Well, it's not as good as what John Frankenheimer did that changed the way Hollywood filmed cars forever in 1968.
Oh, with
Grand Prix. Yeah,
mounting cameras.
Yeah, they mounted cameras on the cars. You had forward cameras, look at the driver
showing
camera.
From the point of view of the car. Grand Prix did that, and then Steve McQueen took that and ran with it with the original cop chase movie, Bullet.
Yep, Bullet. Yes, and part of the reason, this is why I laugh. I mean, I've said this before when somebody comes on, anybody says on a stream, because everybody knows this. This is conventional wisdom. Bullet had the best car chase ever, and I'm like, if John Frankenheimer hadn't made Grand Prix the way he did, you never would have gotten that car chase in Bullet.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right, man. By the way, this is interesting because I think that is Steve Martin. And that is, again, rear screen projection. He's standing in front of the projector. I think that's how they pulled this off. I don't think that's another actor. I think that is Steve Martin.
Yes, that's Steve.
Because that's his jawline.
Yep.
Big shot movie producer, and everything he says she's not interested in.
Yep.
And this is where he starts going backtracking. Story of Saint Betty. I love that he doesn't do a Chevy Chase here and just start making up names on the Umfurfer. Even though he does do that with the movie that we will be doing called The Man with Two Brains, which is another collaboration between him and Carl Reiner. And hey, Dr. Hoffar.
I love how her only reaction to whatever he's saying is, that's wonderful. Like she's not even listening. She's just saying something.
Oh, this scene where he smoke, the cigarette fucking burns a hole in the menu while he's watching her. She, for some reason, she spotted me.
Yeah. He might have done that to look through the hole, though. I don't know.
No, he just had it too close to him. This is the I'm from the health department. I've had a complaint that you have way too much jewelry in your soup or in your food.
Yes.
God, I love this movie.
This is very much Steve Martin's sense of humor. If you ever saw any of his stand-up,
or read his books,
this was probably the first time he got to do a movie where he didn't feel the need to just go crazy with ad libs, because he was very happy. He appeared to be very happy performing this as a routine, as a character. And it was probably the first, I think it's the first time, from what little I remember of his earlier movies, the first time he ever really pulled
The
this
Jerk
off.
is another one, because that's with Carl Reiner too, isn't it?
I think that's the first one they did, or one of the very, very early ones he did with it.
Because that was, I remember that one. I got my thermos, I got my dog. Don't need my dog.
I never liked The Jerk.
No,
but
I liked it, but it's not great. I mean, Nathan, what's his name? Nathan, because I grew up a poor black child. He's a white kid in a black family. I got rhythm.
It is with Carl Reiner. Yeah.
It is.
Another one.
I will admit that is a movie that I turned off. That is a movie I couldn't finish.
It's so difficult too, because, and I know why people have a problem with it, which is why I'm not going to ever push that one on Anima, because it is absolutely way too absurd for her. It's like, but that fucking scene, I swear to God, that fucking scene where Emmett Walsh starts shooting at him, and he thinks he's shooting the cans. Stay away from the cans. For some reason, this man really hates these cans. And then he goes over to the Coke machine, and bullets hit it, and he goes, "Oh no, there are cans in that too!" And he runs away from it. It's just so insane. That movie is it's really hard to take. I happen to like it because I was a kid, and I liked that. I was 15 years old when that came out. I'm not gonna Steve Martin, man. I love that, he made a serious movie that tanked before he did this one. It's called Pennies from Heaven with Bernadette Peters.
Yes.
And, he met her on The Jerk, and they did 2 movies together, and that one tanked. And I'm like, it made me feel bad for him because he wanted to be serious and make a real movie. And it just didn't do well. I think it's a beautiful film. If anybody's ever seen it, it's Steve Martin plays a music salesman. He sells music books, and he meets this girl, and they're both depressed, wanting to meet somebody. A murder takes place with her husband, I think, abusive husband, and he ends up getting the chair for it or getting hanged for it in the end. And they have this fantasy world where they're in classic musicals from the 30s during the Depression. And beautifully, he learned to dance, like really tap dance for that movie, so he could do the classic Fred Astaire moves. And if you've never seen it, it's one that you should see just for the artistic sake. Whether you like it or not, just you saw it for the artistic sake. So this scene is the great moment in this is when he says, "You need a cup of my Java." And then he proceeds to take a bag of coffee and slowly shake it into a pot, holding the pot up high. And he just keeps shaking it. And he gets to a point where he's like doing the longer shakes, like he's at the end of it, and then just keeps shaking until it's empty. He dumps the whole fucking bag into it. After like 2 minutes of this,
he pours more coffee than that bag can hold.
Oh, I know. There's way more coffee than what's in that bag. And then he cracks 3 eggs on it. Now, I learned using egg shells when making coffee that it helps with the flavor. But he puts whole fucking eggs in there and starts scrambling it. It's like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yes.
No, actually,
I don't know what coffee you're drinking, Gary.
no, actually, that's a technique to filter coffee, because that's not instant coffee, that's ground coffee. So in order to be able to drink it without having the grounds between your teeth, you need to get them out before drinking. So with Turkish coffee, you would just let it sit so it goes down, and then you pour it into the cup, trying to get not too much coffee grounds in it.
Is that where I learned it from? Is from Turkish coffee making?
Yeah.
Because it says here Scandinavian.
Apparently adding an egg is helping to bind the coffee grounds, and then you just pour out the coffee, holding back the egg and the coffee grounds. And I know it because I'm from Europe. In Middle Europe, I learned it from the Southern Europeans. They call it Turkish coffee. They do it all over the Balkans. Well,
the Northern European, Scandinavian countries put eggshell in it too.
Oh, eggshell. No, I don't mean eggshell. I mean
I'm talking about eggshell because that's what I learned. Was putting eggshell. I've never heard of putting actual egg in there. But the funny part of it is he's scrambling the eggs in the egg. It's just such a weird scene. And then he proceeds to get shot in the same bullet hole from earlier.
And it cut to her sucking on his arm again. Hi, Zax.
Yep.
Well, you know what you have, what is coming.
Yeah. Please, the good one.
Oh man. Wait.
And that, by the way, the guy walking up the stairs in the front, the heavyset guy, that is William Conrad, the actor who played Matt Dillon on the radio for Gunsmoke. But when they found out he was fat, they were like, "No, you cannot be Marshall Dillon on TV." No.
Okay. Here we go.
But he became.
No, continue.
Can I finish? Finish? Okay, so William Conrad would then go on to star as Cannon on CBS. So there you go.
Freak is that?
Yeah.
Fuck if I know.
Someone watching TV in the background?
No.
What the hell? Okay.
Do you have a game running, Mephisto?
I don't know how that came through.
You did.
Stop watching porn
There
while
we
we're
go.
doing a
Should be
show.
okay. See, I need to stay awake.
Here we go
Go,
for
go,
Zach.
go. Do it. dude.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Yeah, Zax was taking some heat the other day, and I'm like, fuck you. Zax is my friend, my buddy. I can't even remember what the hell that was about the other day. It was on Twitter. I saw that. I can't remember what it was.
More of the gooner talk.
It might be. I don't know. I just know that somebody was talking shit about Zax. Probably.
Stupidest argument ever. Never mind. Go on. Movie. I am falling asleep. I should go to bed, actually.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed.
All Jews go to bed.
I'm just gonna say, from my heart to yours, Gary.
Yours.
From my heart to yours.
I love you, Mephisto. You're the coolest dude ever.
Stop listening to fucking Twitter, dude. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. None of those people you saw on screen were
here's
doing
what
the
I do.
Nazi salute. None of them.
I mock people when they say stupid shit. Like somebody was going after Tom, Tom from Midnight's Edge was going after him for his review of something. And he's like reviewing Tom. And I said, oh, is this what we review the audience? Oh, yours is terrible. Also, you need a haircut for your hand-drawn avatar. I said, if you don't know this, boomers hate the hippies.
Anyway, guys, much love. Later, I'm going to sleep.
You,
I may or may not jump on one Fortnite game, depending on.
Oh, here's a rule I learned. I will tell you right now. When it comes to talking to females and you're like in a disagreement, the greatest advice I ever got, and I use this to this day, is picture yourself, imagine yourself pulling your spine out of your body and just go slack. And the other thing I do is I sit on my hands. I put them under my thighs while they're talking. I go, okay, I'm listening.
Both of them are very nice if you are you, Gary. You're not me.
No, he's not using those techniques with me.
I'll see you, brother. Good night, man. Not using it. So, yeah, I thought you might enjoy that, Zach, that I shit on that guy that was talking shit about fucking Tom. And it's been 2 days, he hasn't responded to me. Like, yeah, I just shit all over that guy. Fuck you. Oh, hello, Bernie. No, it's me, Rigby. The way they worked in shit from the movie. Also, when he shows up drunk and without a tie on, I love that scene.
Oh,
he does the whole flipping the tie over the back of his hand, like a hand model would do with the tie. It was fucking great. I fucking love this movie. It's at a train station. Yeah, Humphrey Bogart, man. You just don't get much better than Bogart from that period as far as leading men. Just don't.
No,
I don't think. I don't think Jimmy Stewart, Clark Gable, any of them had the strength as a character, as a leading man, as Bogart had.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, here's the one thing I will say in Jimmy Stewart's defense, because he's one of my favorite actors.
It's one of mine too. I know it.
They could not play the same kind of part, is what I.
No,
would
they
say.
couldn't. Which is why Jimmy Stewart became a character-driven leading man.
Yes, but Jimmy Stewart basically monetized his post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, because when he did "It's a Wonderful Life," he had just gotten back, and he was a wreck, and he just thought what they were doing was stupid. He says, "This is just nonsense, make believe." And an old legend actor who's lived in a wheelchair. What's his name? Oh my God. famous family of actors. His great granddaughter great niece is from E.T., the daughter in E.T.
Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, Drew Barrymore. Barrymore, thank you. The Barrymore family. And he was there when this breakdown happened. He was crying. He was upset. He was angry. He was ashamed and embarrassed. And he told him, he says, if you can't take what you've learned from that and churn that out into doing your performance and doing your fucking job and making a living at this and using that for this, then there's no use to you. Stop being a fucking baby and go do it. The same thing that happened with John Wayne for opposite reasons, because John Wayne was ashamed that he didn't serve. And he was in this movie with all these fucking decorated fucking warriors surrounded by him. And John Ford let him have it for that too. The first time they worked together after the war, just was laying into him. And it took another actor to call Ford out on that. He says, is that helping the film? Is it helping us get this movie done? Why don't you stop it? You're just bullying him. And he did. He never did it again. But we owe somebody a backdoor video here, Martin. Martin?
I don't like the idea of it going out the back door.
There we go. So this, of course, is from one of the Hitchcock films. They use Notorious and this one. I forget the name of this one. Both of them with Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman.
Gambit says it was Suspicion.
That's it. Suspicion. Suspicion and Notorious. This was Suspicion. And the next one with Ingrid Bergman is from Notorious. Both great Hitchcock films. Back in his early day when he's still working in just black and white. I'm less of a fan of The Man Who Knew Too Much, the remake with Jimmy Stewart, and prefer the original one he shot in England. But I still love the Jimmy Stewart Doris Day one. I mean, it's got the fucking song, Que Sera, Sera, for God's sakes. Yeah, he took both cabs. I love that gag.
Now
And
that
Ingrid
is,
was
that
fucking hot in this.
that is a gag out of Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Hey, get me such and such street, and this time here's his $10. Oh, he took off. Runs to the next cab. Follow that cab.
Yes. Swear to God. That's Tex Avery. That's got Tex Avery written all over
Tex Avery all over it. The classic Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Back when Bugs Bunny sounded half retarded. His voice didn't really change until later.
Yeah.
It's the 40s, going into the 50s.
Oh,
I love this. Like,
no. We're talking about Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Don't get me started on Bugs Bunny, dude.
Yeah. This is where she drugs him, and he just keeps downing it. And this is where the famous line, that's it. This is where it came from. Anima asked me, that's where you got it from, which is Germans, Ethel Merman. I've been doing that joke since this fucking movie because I found it so fucking funny. Look at his lips, all duck lip.
Steve Martin had a rubber face.
Yeah,
because he hasn't been able to. I don't think he could do it anymore because of his age. But God, when he was doing stand up in his early movies, yes, he was essentially the first guy like Jim Carrey who could do anything he wanted to with his face. He didn't have to say anything. He'd just make an expression to make you chuckle.
By the way, the song he is singing here is an actual song from a commercial about Barbasol shaving cream. But they didn't use shaving cream. This is whipped cream used for the scene.
Obviously.
Thank goodness.
Well, some people use them in movies, but he had to put it on his tongue and you don't want that mentholated fucking shaving cream on your tongue.
I wouldn't want the fucking razor on my tongue. Thank you.
Because you remember in the movie Super Troopers, when they did the gag with him covered with shaving cream in the locker, the shit's excoriated his skin.
Ooh.
Well, the
In the
thing-
nether regions, it was his.
Ooh.
It was what got down around his junk and his asshole that got him
man.
burned. I love
the
this.
thing-
She wants to
my
put
father-
alcohol on it again. He's like, pulls his gun out. Give me that alcohol. He starts pouring it out. That's the second time because he his knees start hurting. She goes, here, I'll get the alcohol. He grabs his gun again and goes, give me the alcohol. He dumps it all out.
So the funny thing is, he asks her, how did I get here? And she looks at his knees and says, he must have crawled. And then he looks at his knees and is like, oh shit. And that's when they start hurting because he sees them. They're all fucked up.
And again, this has the classic bullshit fucking evidence that he quickly figures out. It's not New York Tag. It's New York Times, August issue.
Second column, something like
Yeah, ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
Second issue,
August.
page 1, column 6. The fuck?
Right.
And it leads to one of the funniest phone calls in the film. Hot legs. Not a she, it's a he.
Yes.
I'll wine and dine you. Sashay your just like, who the fuck is he talking to? Her, him. And you begin to wonder about his character because he has no trouble being kissed by Fred Murray later. Immer Epson.
That's the name of that ship. Yeah.
But does that mean, because I don't know the word Immer.
Immer means always.
Yeah, so always eating. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I just caught that earlier. Mephisto told me in private. Shut up.
He was saying something when you started the intro. You cut him off.
Yeah. Now they know.
For this movie, he dyed
They had
his
to
hair.
dye it. Yeah.
Yes.
He got gray early.
Well,
I think one of the earliest things he's in is he's the bellboy in a segment that was made for The Kids Are All Right with The Who. I think that was the earliest thing I ever saw him in. Or is this where she says the thing about, you know how to use a phone, right? You stick your finger in the hole and make little circles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah. There are so many.
Now there's a guy who knew how to hold a cigarette in his lips.
Yes.
Not look weird. Yeah, I love when he asks him, "Hey, you wearing a tie? Goodbye."
We have Tim here with a question.
Have you paid? Has somebody paid? I don't know.
No, we haven't put that thing up, I think.
I guess I could do that, but somebody will have to talk while I do it.
Yeah, well, in the meanwhile, I'll try to find
In the
this
mean-
video for Tim.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Yeah, you guys need to motivate Gary to make him talk gay.
Just like every good whore, money motivates me.
No.
Throw him some stripper money. Only with Gary, it's anti-stripper money. Please keep it on. Don't take your shirt off. We've always been saying that. It's reverse stripper money. Christian does it sometimes when he's had a couple of beers, but I think he stopped drinking beer or something.
I can't remember how to fucking do this. Is that it? That it? Okay, copy. I think this is it.
No, Tim. No. Bad Tim. Bad Tim.
Yes, Tim, that would get you banned from this channel.
What?
Yeah.
Just take
Take
it
it
off.
off.
No.
You got to get some sexy music going. Nah, 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 nah.
Well, we have a clip for that too. From Family Guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously, guys, don't give him ideas. And we have that air.
I'm looking
Ask you
for
guys to
the
talk.
clip.
I'm doing this.
It's not here.
I'm tired. I don't know what to say, too.
Well, I could say that we better let this slideshow run because we haven't reached the middle of it.
Well,
Oh man,
I'm not going to be able to stay until the end of the slideshow. I'm already so tired.
Well, let's get. Like I said, I had to keep stopping it, and then we talked for a bit, and then it's outside of my control.
no, if you're stopping it, I think it's precisely under your.
Well, I'm stopping it because I'm hosting the show, and I want to talk about why I do. But people have something to say, so that's outside of my control.
Tim, please don't do that because that will make Gary go on the socials and look for whatever you sent him and derail the show even further. That's not a good idea.
It's not. Huh. I guess I've been doing it wrong all this time. There we go. I pinned it.
There you go.
Oh
Guys.
my goodness.
You know what you have to do if you want to hear him talk. Okay?
1 Minuten.
Close.
It's 1 minute.
Eine Minute.
Phonetics. Tomato,
That's
tomato.
not phonetics, that's grammar, you jerk.
Yes.
Thank
And
you, Richard.
Mark Twain wrote a very funny story about German grammar.
Oh, it's fucked up. I'm not going to argue with that, but still. I'm a language nerd, so screwing around with grammar is going to hurt my brain. So sorry.
I'll see if I can find it and send you a link to it. It's a short
Now, I
story
do
thing
believe,
from a
by the
tour.
way, the cleaning woman gag was created because they wanted this scene in the film. And that's how they got it to work. And it ended up working all the way through to the end because they were able to use that as a device for him to beat the German because he becomes superhuman. He hears
It's
that
very
word.
clever. I mean, as much as that annoys me, how she gets him, he gets her to say that. It was very clever.
It's the funny thing is that with all the absurdist humor in this movie, that is an absolutely bog standard setup and payoff. That's not in the style of this thing. You know, it would, if there was done the way they did the rest of this movie, he would simply go nuts at cleaning woman and then explain it after the fact.
Right.
You know, apologetically. Oh, really sorry.
And by the way, if anybody does do a tip, make sure you post it in the chat to let us know. Because I don't always seem to get notifications. For some reason.
You get them way later sometimes. They're not live during your show, and that sucks. I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, the whole hand shadow thing. Because he's doing it for a bit, and then the Abraham Lincoln is when it starts like going off the rails.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say about this?
That is, I just forgot her name. She was another blonde bombshell in the old movies. Forget her name.
No. I'm talking about
the comment.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Just the tip. I don't want the rest. Yeah, Lana Turner. Thank you. Yeah, but
I know how Gary eats asparagus.
Gambit has all the facts.
I don't want to know, so please don't tell me, Richard.
I like my asparagus like I like my women, cut up in little pieces so I can swallow them more easily.
Whoa!
Shut up.
That was naughty.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you say
Hey, Snortapoopus. By the way, Toxic Tuesdays got some claims for our last episode, and they forgot to put the transparency over top of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Apparently, what happened.
Damn.
That's Edward Albert. That is Eddie Albert's father from Green Acres.
Hey, Snotty.
And Roman Holiday. This is one of my favorite moments too, because the fucking poop. Pick that up.
But it's soft and steamy. Ew.
And then he walks out and he goes, "Here's something for you, and I have a little something for you." And hands the handkerchief full of poop to the old lady.
Yeah.
And as the camera follows him, you hear her go, "Ew."
She's so happy to get something too. But,
"Oh, thank you." It's so fucking messed up.
do I even want to know what he means?
No.
Good.
And I'm
God,
even
no,
responding to
no,
him.
no.
What was it?
Him bad.
What
No,
did he
there was
say?
a reference to that in a movie I saw recently, and I looked it up, and I wish I never had.
I've never watched it. I knew what it was, and I'm like, no, thank you. The closest I've come to seeing it is the South Park episode.
I read the synopsis of the movie, and I had enough with that.
Okay.
No.
No. That is literally one of those things where would we say, don't Google that? We mean it. Don't.
I always listen to advice like that.
Well, I'm going to say some people I've seen on saying things like that on live streams, and people in the chat have taken it as a challenge and then regretted it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I understand what they did, and I didn't think it was a very good idea, and I'm not going to watch it. Oh, this is great where he pulls the guy's jacket, does the thing, pulls the jacket down, and stomps his foot. It's fucking funny. And his suspender pops the suspenders.
Yeah. Well, he called them the Three Stooges, so he does this because that's, it's straight out of the Three Stooges.
Three Stooges, yep.
Yep.
I'll double it and we'll beat the shit out of him. What a great line. What's this guy paying you? I'll double it and we'll beat the shit out of him. Now there's another connection to Blade Runner because that's what Pris does to Deckard, grabs him by his nostrils. Lifts him off the ground with his nostrils.
Ouch.
Uh-huh. I love this.
Oh yeah, she opens it. Rigby, and just right in the fucking jaw, knocks her out.
And then he thinks that they
and then
did
he
it to
thinks
her.
it's the Germans did it to her, or the
Yes.
guys what fucking
Mobsters.
assholes, mobsters.
Yes.
Oh man, I love this fucking
Yeah,
movie, and I do believe this was shot on the Warner backlot.
They even knocked your breasts out of whack. Oh, let's have a reprise of that gag.
Yep, you goddamn right. We all wanted it. It was needed.
What?
Then she wakes up.
Really?
Yeah, that's later.
Yeah. And in the voiceover, he says, "I've never had my willy adjusted like that."
Not without asking.
Not without asking, yeah.
Right.
And we have another breach.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's.
The only way to the back lot is through the back doors.
Let's go with this one.
They took Dude just a moment ago when they heard the shooting. They went out the back door. They had horses. I heard them.
He had horses in his back door. Good God.
That was superb.
What's so funny about this scene is how hairy his legs are when he's putting those stockings on.
Oh, of course.
Like, did you not shave? Oh, he shaved halfway.
We did the Mel Gibson movie where he suddenly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when he tries out all the stuff, he's drunk and he tries the wax. So he's not going through with it. So when you see him pull on the tights, there's only this one strip of his leg that has no hair on it.
Jerry's.
I love that movie.
And this is, of course, from the original version of the John Hurt film. Oh my God, what was it called? 1980, I think. Another modern noir film. Anyway, this is with Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck. That's actually Stanwyck there in the wig. Double Indemnity, that's it.
Yes.
And they remade it years later in 1980 as Body Heat. My favorite thing is when he pulls away from him, kissing him, he's like, oh my God.
Yeah, he's not enjoying that.
It was kind of saying that he had got a mouthful. Elephant Man is another great film that was shot in black and white. I love that movie. And I do plan to do that one because I love David Lynch's films.
Oh man, this scene.
Yeah, where he falls from under him.
And he apologizes for knocking him out. This is as far as I go on a first date. Jesus.
Going through his stuff. Can't remember what he's looking for here.
For
Neither did he.
Anything in connection with
Oh, that's
this.
it. Last Cruise. There's an another famous building. That's the downtown courthouse in Los Angeles. Now, this one is from the film Dead Heat, as I recall, with Jimmy Cagney. And this scene just slays me because she kisses it and he kisses her back like man and woman kiss right in front of the fucking guards in front of the prison. And then he says, Jarrett's mother. White heat, that's it. And by the way, in the scene where he shoots the trunk, this is back in the day when they would use real rounds sometimes, and that was real rounds. He fired an actual 45 into an empty trunk.
That we know of.
He says, "Getting stuffy in there. Here, let me get you some air." And he put 2 holes in there, and he fucking killed the guy. In the movie, it's fucked up. No, ma'am. Look, listen. Look, listen. It's like, no, ma, not mom, ma. Look, listen. It's great. I fucking love this. This is also knowing the material from the movies in order to make jokes work.
Which is another reason why I'm having a problem with that movie. It's just wasted on me. I haven't seen most of the movies that they reference to.
The guard's like, what the fuck?
Look at her leaning in, tilting her head, and he's like all stiff and not bending down.
Making her do all the work.
Bad drag. He's obviously a man. But anyway, guys, I'm sorry I have to split. I'm falling asleep here and I have work tomorrow. So.
All right, hon. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Good night, baby.
Night.
There it is. This is a great scene. Cagney, man. I love this guy. My favorite thing in his autobiography, he wrote, he says, one day I pulled up along the street over in Westwood area, I think. And he said, I was pulled up to the light and I looked to my left, and in the car next to me was none other than Humphrey Bogart picking his nose. He did not pull punches about other celebrities. And by the way, there's a couple of actors I learned something about that grossed me out while researching this movie. And one of them is Charles Laughton. He's the one who calls him Mr. Rigby when he ends up down in South America in Carlotta. And to find out that this great actor, he played the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which has a joke in the movie.
Yes.
You know who I am? With the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I'm like, it's a joke within the film. I love that. It's in his private life, he was with a young male prostitute, and it was given his information. There we go. This is the third time she has to suck a bullet out of it. That he was a fecophiliac. And that he had this guy take a crap and put it on a sandwich, and he ate the sandwich.
Yay.
And in the same article, I had to learn that one of my favorite actors liked women to defecate when he was banging them.
Yay.
Tyrone Power. Broke my heart. I fucking love that guy. One of the best Zorros. Liked women to shit on him while he was banging them. Weird. Fucking weird people.
What was his name
Been
again?
that way for a long time.
What was his name again, Gary?
Tyrone Power. And of course, the other actor I brought up that ate the sandwich is Charles Lawton, and he's in this movie.
Oh, but this is not related to our good friend Tyrone.
No, that's Tyrone Moncrief. That's different.
Yeah, Devon. I feel you, man.
That's why I talk during the show and not while I'm eating.
Oh my God, Reed. Reed wants details.
Yeah, I hate finding out stuff about actors after they've died. It's like, oh, I didn't want to know that.
Well, that's the reason that they used to have publicists. And
Yeah.
the studios wouldn't let the actors talk to people other than other actors in Hollywood. The publicist.
Yeah,
was
it's
the only
when they
person.
didn't pay the right people off that shit would get out. Like
Right.
Robert Mitchum being busted for possession of marijuana.
Yep.
And I loved his response to that, man. He says, when I drink booze, I like to fight. When I smoked weed, I did not fight. Made him a nicer drunk.
Yes. There were more than a few of those in the 50s, and especially the 40s and 50s in Hollywood.
There's still debates on that to this day. That's never been totally proven. What we do know for sure is he had issues over his mother and father. He had daddy and mommy issues. His accent, the way it was created, is so fucking crazy. And that he was the first celebrity to openly use LSD in therapy for regression therapy. It allowed him to access memories that he had thought he had lost in order to try to help him deal with all of those fucking problems. Because for him to be gay, also, it means that, what's his name? Randolph Scott was gay too, because they were roommates and best friends. And apparently they thought it was hilarious that people thought they were gay. They just thought it was funny. That's what I read. And his his wife, she's still alive, Diane Cannon, who said the guy was not gay. He said he had a nice dick and he knew how to throw it.
Oh my God.
I love this scene with him talking to that fucking pigeon. Offers the pigeon some whiskey and then goes, fuck it. You don't want to drink it? I'll drink it. Out of the top.
Nah, I don't have that problem.
Now, Rock Hudson, we knew about. I knew about Rock Hudson before he ever came out. I remember my dad used to read these books written by journalists from Hollywood, and they would just nail these actors for who they were, and all these stories that nail them for who they were, not nail them, but nail them for who they were. It's not an ending sentence. So, he really dug into guys like Errol Flynn, and what was another actor that Rock Hudson, said that Rock Hudson, this is back way before that he had AIDS and came out. This is back in the 70s, said that he had a homosexual relationship with Jim Nabors. And it was true that he and Jim Nabors fucking were dating. But in all the stuff that I've read, which is all the same stuff my dad read, he handed that stuff down to me to read. And I've never found anything talking about fucking Cary Grant or Randall Scott being closeted in any way. Yes, I've actually read rumors of that too, that he was closeted and that he and another actor was definitely, he finally, he admitted he was gay, was Van Johnson. He was in Battleground, which we talked about 2 weeks ago. And Van Johnson was closeted in Hollywood. He married women twice, and one of the divorces stated that he was cruel and used the word correctly, that he was a misogynist. He hated women. And so, yeah, Van Johnson, abusive and a woman hater. And absolutely, because she divorced him, because she married him twice, the same actress. She married him twice, and he promised it would be different. He goes to Britain, does a stage production, and it got back to her that he was banging one of the young new members of the cast. And she divorced him while he was in London. Just absolutely shut him down. And again, here she is, Eva Gardner. She was a absolute psychotic. Yes, Antoni, good actor, man. I love when Steve Martin walks up to him, he remembers him as somebody else that he's not. And then when he says who he actually is, he goes, "Oh, well, how are you?" Very cold and aloof. Like he doesn't give a shit.
Only they know who is
Gambit.
them.
He's not Mexican. He's Peruvian. The
Yes,
isle,
from Peru.
the isle is on the coast of Peru. Man, he looks so vulgar with that suit.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah. The Hotel Guano.
Yes.
Guano bird
Hotel
droppings. The hotel
No, it
bird
just means
shit.
shit. No, it just means shit.
Yes.
It just means shit, guano. And it's just hotel shit. What a fucking great name.
Bush! My brother producing music. Like I can certify it is not. I live here.
By the way, Bush, did you watch that guy's video? Because I put it in the chat. The Scotsman who makes Scottish meat pies, amazing video. I love the way he makes his crust and everything.
Okay, but that video cannot be better than this one.
No, because that's Bush. There he is. That's Charles Lawton, the guy who liked to eat poop. Love this guy as an actor. Played the best Captain Bligh. I love Anthony Hopkins as Bligh. The best Bligh was Charles Lawton. And he was a fecophiliac. Jesus Christ.
Can we move past that, please?
Nope. If I can't get past it, you don't either.
I learned so much on your streams, Gary.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you want to know it.
Oh my.
Yeah, with Clark Gable as Mr. Christian. Mr. Christian. I love the way he says it, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Island of Lost Souls.
They parodied that in
Moreau.
Looney Tunes more than once.
Oh, yeah. And of course, in Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny is a rip on or a riff on Clark Gable.
Yeah.
I've never got it, but that's what it was. Apparently, he said, "What's up, Doc?" in a movie, and I can't remember which one it is, but I do know he did. Yeah, you just, find an animal and put a pie crust under it and a pie crust on top and just lift and eat.
And it's in Scotland, so you deep fry it.
Yeah, twice. Final instructions. Sheep is the pie. Now, according to lore, she was discovered working a what do you call it? A drink fountain, soda fountain. But I don't believe that story. I don't think it's true. I think she was found the typical way in a what do you call it? A couch session. Because she was one of those female actors that slept her way. Yeah, no, Ava Gardner slept her way through Hollywood.
Well, there is one. There is a joke about that, but it's about Lana Turner. He says he asked her whether she's upset that he left her sitting at the counter at Schwab's, and the rumor is that she was discovered sitting at the counter in a Schwab's drugstore. So
that doesn't mean she worked there.
No, just means that she was there, and Rigby left her, and a Hollywood producer came in and signed her, supposedly.
That's Christian. Yeah.
This is mutiny, Mr. Christian. Mutiny.
This is great, by the way. I love Vincent Price in this movie. Because he was just he was great comic relief, but he was also very good as the guy who didn't do it or the villain. One of the suspects, like in the movie Laura. He's great in Laura. He plays the part of a gigolo in that movie. It's great. Dana Andrews. I love that movie.
I can't hear the name of the movie Laura without thinking of Spike Jonze' version of the theme.
Yeah. Oh, and I love the way he chases him. What about their pajamas?
Yes.
Forget my pajamas. Don't need help with my pajamas. Don't worry about your pajamas, senor. Fucking great gag. Yes, they did.
No, the best part of that gag is when he says, "No, well, you should. It's just one bullet. My wife will suck it out later."
Yeah, that's right. It's just one bullet. My wife will suck it out later.
Yes.
This is what he yells at. Forget the pajamas.
Yes. That gag has been reused. In fact, the most recent movie that I've seen that gag used in was Deadpool and Wolverine. And because every time Deadpool wakes up, he's dreaming about Thor. And, and even at the very final, the third act of the movie, when they see him again, it's like, why was Thor crying? He's been fixated on that the whole movie. It's just like the pajamas scene, in the scene here. It's like, the pajamas are meaningless. Leave them forget the pajamas.
But it is important. Like, why the fuck was he crying? And there he goes. A great death scene for Vincent Price. And the way they pulled this off, this is back in the 40s. And it's obviously a dummy, but the dummy was wired, and they, just like a puppet cutting the strings, they cut the strings. And that's how they got it to collapse the way it did. I thought that was really clever for the day, because a stuntman would not get in there with all that fucking ordnance.
Right.
We have Glenn.
No, he's leaving. Then off with you. Rubbish film. I'm off to bed later, guys. In honor of Glenn, I do plan to do Glenn or Glinda one day.
Oh, geez. No, man. There's the
Speaking
backstory to that.
Drag.
Oh,
I actually do want to do the movie Ed Wood, which is the guy who made the movie Glenn or Glinda. And I do want to do that movie with Johnny Depp, because I think that movie is fucking funny. He goes, no, I love women. I just feel like wearing their clothes makes me closer to them. That is like bullshit. But whatever.
Yes.
Freak. Because the guy calls him a freak. I love that.
Oh, he was just as weird as anybody else in Hollywood.
Yeah, they need to get, because both of them are very funny. They're very good at improv. I think Reynolds is in trouble.
I do too.
Because the video came out with the audio because it got leaked, the video of her and the actor. But the audio it was not recorded, but there was a separate analog recording of the audio. And she got a hold of that Megan, what is her name? Megan, hot blonde that used to be with Fox News. She got a hold of that and the audio and put them together. And it's pretty damning that she's fucking lying, that Blake Lively is lying. And I'm like, this is the thing that can ruin a fucking career for Ryan Reynolds. And I know he feels it's your job to defend your fucking wife to the hilt. I get that. But there's a point where you need to shut the fuck up.
Yep.
And I hope he's found that moment, but he's hurt himself with what he's done so far.
Yes, he has.
So, but anyway, back to this movie. You see Carl Reiner disguised as the Yahtzee general in the upcoming bit where Rachel is captured by his goons, along with the intent to destroy, not the intent to destroy Terre Haute. When he hits the switch, Rigby Reardon throws his shoe, knocking the switch back, and the only thing they lost was Terre Haute, and he says, and they were just about to get an airport.
A public library.
Or a public library.
Public library.
Great shitting on Terre Haute, Indiana. I've been to Terre Haute a lot. Some of my family is from Indiana.
Back
Megan
home
Kelly.
again in Indiana.
And I don't care who you are. I'm telling you, Megan Kelly is the single most fuckalicious news journalist I've ever seen. Just, she's beautiful. And God damn it, there's nothing that turns me on more than a smart woman. God damn it. Well, yes, there is one thing that turns me on more than a smart woman. A naked smart woman.
Hey, Keto Simple.
Keto Day.
What's up, Dustin? How you doing, brother? I was in Terre Haute just the other day, passing through. I'm about an hour east. Did they finally get the library?
Oh.
Well, I'm glad to hear it's still there.
Yeah, no, it's still there. I do want to point out, I love what he does with the gun. I also love when he does the coin thing that Val Kilmer, and when I talked about that, I would not be surprised if Val Kilmer was inspired by what he did in this. That Val Kilmer started doing the finger things with coins, with wrenches, twirling them because of this fucking movie, because of Steve Martin doing that shit. There's a huge casino there now. God damn, they really took off. But he does this thing with the pistol where he flips it and catches it perfectly. I love that, but not this pistol. That was the German. What do you call it? It's not a Luger. I don't think it's a Luger. I think it's a Walther. I think it's a Walther. And he flips the Walther in his hand, which was the other one. It's not the Walther like Bond carried. It was the bigger
the P99.
One. Yeah.
I had a model of it, or it might even have been a demilled version of it, given to me by my uncle. But that was a non-com's pistol. The Luger was an officer's pistol.
Was an officer's pistol that jammed all the time, and they hated him. But it was there for decoration.
Yeah, well, that's why they had to have a full. That's why they had to have the full. Both of them had a full holster with a flap that snapped over and locked to keep dirt out of the holster, or the gun wouldn't function. Neither.
Yeah,
of them
absolutely.
Worked.
It was such a bad design. By the way, now do you recognize him as Commodore Lassard from that ran the academy, from Police Academy?
No, but that's all right.
He's the one who gets a blowjob while he's giving a speech in the first movie from the hooker.
I've seen it. It's just it's too.
Martin, are you here? Are you here? Because you're one of them.
What?
That's the Commodore from Police Academy.
Yeah, he is.
You're right. Okay.
And the Admiral from Hot Shots.
Yep. By the way, though, the direct translation is pig dog.
Yes.
Now, Anima said she doesn't. No, she doesn't think so. Not in Austrian German.
Well, Google.
And she told me how to say cleaning woman in Austrian German.
Yes, it's German because I asked Google Translate to translate Heinemackerfrau, and it said cleaning lady.
Yep, that's who it is. And he doesn't have any lines in this. He's just in the newspaper and in this final scene. Now, Carl Reiner still stole this scene because I love the way he makes the other German officers all park their asses over there and all lands. That was fucking hilarious.
Oh. Stop there. You have to change.
Hold
your
on.
voice
No, that's for the show. That is not going through the tip jar.
Oh. Well, at least 1 minute.
Yep. Well, let me tell you something. I got to tell you, of my favorite characters in movies, I like Rigby Reardon because the word rear is in it. It's all about finding those words on Google Maps. That jump from the first police academy to the family friend. Yeah, that's the movie that really turned him into somebody. But anyway, Dustin, thanks for the $5. Nick uses that clip of him talking during Toxic Tuesday. And, in many ways, what we have evolved into on Pop Culture Minefield, because originally when Keith was available, we were about discussing the entertainment industry. But I'm not going to do that by myself. I'm just not going to do it. If I have to do the show by myself while he was having to deal with his mom and his dad, he had to take care of them. So it was me doing the show. And I'm like, I've got to shift gears or this is the end of Pop Culture Minefield. So what do? I like to talk about movies and TV shows. And I like doing shit like this. And I loved, in fact, when I get to hang out with Nick and the guys, the video has stopped playing. It is not moved. Did it lock up?
You mean the slideshow?
Yeah, it's at what minute mark is that?
Yeah.
It says 1.
Okay, let me
109:53. So if you need to restart it, go ahead. But anyway, for Tito, I owe him. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Dustin. When I worked at one of the group homes where I took care of people that were developmentally disabled, whenever I worked in the dining room to serve people food, I'd walk around switching all the time. I'm like, and how are you doing tonight, monsieur? Would you care for some brioche with that sauce? And they can't talk. Half of them were incapable of speaking. I was just fucking trying to bring some levity into the fucking dining room, and it cracked everybody up. And ironically, every single member of the kitchen staff thought I was gay. And I was banging 3 of the women in the company at the time because I was a player. I was a very bad boy with girls back then. Very, very naughty. So this is great. This is where he starts to get frustrated with him. And he's still got the 38 at this point, but at some point he ends up with the Russian or the German pistol.
Oh, he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, he hasn't done it yet because they're coming in now. That guy's pistol is the one he ends up with.
All right,
and that's the one that
I want to maximize it when you get to that slide.
I love so much of the dialogue here. This is your typical villain explaining everything, but they do the great joke about, well, who gets to, because in many of the detective films, the detective gets to announce what the criminal is doing. And in some films, the criminal does it. So in this one, they're in a fight for who gets to tell what happened, but they end exactly on the same words. and it's so fucking funny.
They're both monologuing at the same time.
Absolutely. And that's what I was looking for, monologuing. It's fucking great. And she's Reiner Frau. Could be my cleaning woman. Cleaning woman. It's like the Hulk. He hulks out.
Yes, he hulks out.
I'm faking it the rest of the time. This is my favorite part where he makes him sit down and hold hands, and then he says, as I know, there are only 6 bullets in that weapon, and there are 9 of us. He says, yeah, but who wants to go first? And you see the Germans all kind of look the other way.
Yes.
Cowards! He yells at him, cowards.
Yes.
I'll do it myself.
Hey, awesome.
Hey, awesome one. What's up, buddy? He hits it. Rigby shoots him and throws his shoe, I think is what he throws, right? And then he falls on the map because at least I got Terre Haute. They were just about to get a public library. Terre Haute. That's an absolute burn. With pleasure. Come on, big dogs. Feinhunds. Oh man, I told Tom today, I'm like, dude, I'm not even gonna fucking watch it. You know, you couldn't pay me enough to want to watch that. Okay, you could pay me enough. There is an amount of money you could pay me that I would watch that show, but I would tell you it would be a few $100. Okay, it would be $200. Okay, I'd do it for about $25. You pay me $25, I will watch Section 31. But that's per episode.
No, apparently it's a movie.
4 episodes.
It's just a movie.
I would do it for $25 for all the season.
Man,
is it a movie or is it a show?
It's a movie. Your suffering is cheap.
Look, man, I've told people, man, the only difference between an artist and a crack whore is really how we give our hand jobs.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah, 1982 is when it came out. It was shot in 81. Came out the same year as Blade Runner. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a long kiss. And then she fucking adjusts his willy. And he goes, oh.
Bye, Dustin.
I was trying to read the subtitles. Anyway. All right, I have to run. See you later, buddy. I'll see you, man. Take good care of yourself. Thanks for the $5. We owe him a video, by the way. Here we go.
We can do Night of the Living Disco starring Village of the Damn People. Macho, macho man. I've got to be a macho man.
There you go. Ray Milland, another great actor who ended up in B movies. The Killers and the
You Gambit. You have made my day.
By the way, when we start into doing movies from the classic Universal monsters, I will include some films that are not technically included. We will be doing a film called The Bride with Sting in one of his worst roles. Not that he had any good roles in films. I love Sting. I love his music. Cannot act. Cannot act. Absolutely agree with you. Miss Robin Williams, man.
Well,
and by the way, my favorite German joke was when he went on a TV talk show in Germany, and the German host asked him, why do you think there are so few German comedians today? And he says, well, you killed the best. You killed all the best. And when they went to commercial, he was not there when they came back. After making that joke. Rennie Santoni, great fucking 80s actor right there. Charles Lawton. I can never get the chef sandwich out of my mind. Vincent Price. Come on, man. It was Edith Head's final film, which I brought up earlier. And she did a lot of the movies that are in this movie. She was the costumer. She's incredible. I love this movie so much. I'm glad we got to do this. I wish we had more people like us that joined us to talk about this, because I'm sure somebody has other stories, and I'd love to hear people's stories of going to see this the first time in a movie theater, because that had to have been a great experience, because I know it was for me, man. I went to see it at the Greenbrier, which is also the same theater I went to see Blade Runner in, same year. And but oddly, they ran the ads for it at the RC Theater, which was the Virginia's Ford. It was the first movie theater we had in Fredericksburg that had more than just one theater in it. And then the Greenbrier was the second one, and they were tiny. There were two tiny movie theaters. They had put a wall partition up down the middle and split the movie theater into two smaller theaters. And that's how they did it. He had died in October 1981 after having completed the wardrobe for this. Yep, absolutely. And again, one of my favorite moments in the film.
You look as though you're going to faint.
Never catch me.
Sadly, I'm a butler, not a catcher.
Catcher. And again, at the end of the movie, in the final act, he does say the name of the movie.
When I arrived in Carlotta, I thought of the words Marlowe had said to me over 15 years ago. Dead men don't wear plaid.
Yep.
And I do. He looks slick in that jacket, and that's clearly a fucking Humphrey Bogart knockoff suit.
Well, Edith.
Or it may have very well been Humphrey Bogart's suit that Edith had tailored for him, because I do believe, didn't she do Casablanca?
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I have to say, I think men's fashions have not improved since the 20s to 40s. I
you
remember
don't
watching...
get any better than the 40s. I'm telling you now.
Well, I love in Jeeves and Worcester. I love Jeeves's clothes and outfits. I have a pair of wingtip shoes that are basically a knockoff of a 1920s design that I've never found a place to wear them to, because I've never been any place fancy enough to wear these damn shoes. But oh my God. I used to be a clothes horse. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm too old to bother with that kind of crap. But yeah, the clothing, the style of jackets, the style of pants. I'm not talking zoot suits. I'm talking properly tailored men's clothes when men wore suits all the time and you didn't leave the house without a hat.
Ori Kelly was the costume designer for Casablanca. He was born in 1897. He worked in Hollywood during the silent era and worked all the way till his death. And he died the year I was born, 1964. So not Edith Head, but it doesn't matter. I just love this movie so much, dude. I really do. And it's not like it's a great movie, but it's a fantastic film. And what they did was genius in sitting down and watching all those movies and finding all the perfect scenes to use and how to use them and how to write comedy off of some of those scenes that had nothing to do with what they were going to do. Like the phone calls to Bogart. Fuck, man. I love this movie.
Yeah, they Steve Martin wanted to use footage of people like William Hartnell, Red Skelton, Jerry Lewis, Jack Benny, Stan Laurel, and Oliver Hardy. And it was Carl Reiner who said, no, it'd be funnier if we use footage of actors who spent their careers mostly away from comedies. So you basically turned all of those 1940s leading men and character actors into the straight men for Steve Martin. And I
Steve
think that's
Martin
one of the reasons.
But Steve Martin is also playing his role like Leslie Nielsen did in
And
Airplane.
that is exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, because you got Leslie Nielsen in Airplane, and then later in the Police Squad movies, playing it straight. And that's what makes it funny. Is like George Kennedy's character in the police squad movies is his character's always playing it straight. Everybody's playing it straight because it's not funny if they try to be shticky with it.
Right.
It doesn't work.
But
it's only
that's
funny because they're not.
That's the key to absurd. Monty Python, Monty Python's Flying Circus and their movies. The thing that makes the ridiculous lines that come out of their mouths work as humor is that they say them with total conviction as though it were a perfectly normal thing to say. And the same thing is going on here. Same thing's going on here. It is, and this is why this is why I say that this was the movie where Carl Reiner finally beat it into Steve Martin. You don't have to be a goofball to do comedy. You don't have to have a simulated arrow through your head to do comedy, Steve. You can do it and act perfectly straight and people will still laugh, because if the writing is there and the joke is there, the people will get it. You don't have to, give them a nod and a wink in order to make it work. Just say your lines with total conviction and it will be funny. And this, I think, is the movie where Martin finally learned that lesson.
I want to share my screen right now because one of the things that the 40s gave us, that was one of my favorite things to wear. And I loved wearing this kind of clothing. Jim Woodward, who my best friend is that I grew up with, Jim Woodward, and I were very dapper. And I was known for wearing suits when I was younger. And I loved the double-breasted suit. And that is from the 40s, man.
I wore double-breasted suits when this movie came out, and nobody else was wearing them because they weren't in fashion for men.
Yeah, not in the 70s and 80s. Leisure suits came in and appeared and they're ugly.
Oh, God. Yeah, I know. No,
this is a single.
Good.
Yeah, it's single. I was going over, I'm showing some of the suit jackets. The double-breasted, here we go. Now we're talking double-breasted. It was the typical thing you saw gangsters wear.
Yep.
And I really loved the way that looked. It had a nice cut to it, very manly. There's a gentleman wearing one there.
Yeah, when Henry Hill in Goodfellas shows up at his parents' house, he's gotten his new suit because he's started making money with the mobsters across the street. And he says, "What do you think, Ma?" He's wearing this double-breasted suit. She says, "You look like a gangster."
Yeah, you look like a gangster. So, but that's it, guys. We've gone over the 2 hours because, it just happens. So, I want to thank everybody for being here. Really good comments. I also got a wonderful drop from Keto Simple for $5. Deeply appreciate it, brother. We appreciate all of your support. Yeah, because he played it straight and it made it funny. Still to this day, my favorite joke that I use in real life. Looks like I picked the wrong day to give up sniffing glue.
Yeah.
And everybody does. Surely you're not serious.
Oh,
I am
definitely.
serious. And stop calling me Shirley.
Yes. Have you ever seen a grown man naked?
Yeah, have you ever seen it? I did that joke on the other night, Toxic Tuesday.
Yep.
I remember doing it during the show. You ever seen a grown man naked? We were talking about gladiator stuff. So
Yep.
See you, Gambit. I'm going to say bye to everybody here. So let's get in a private chat. I will get the names. D. Bud Martin, the hardest working wrench in our community. Read by Nature. Slasher Fred, Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival. I'll be joining him this Sunday talking about Blue Oyster Cult. Sander Hammerschlag. Santa Hammerschlag. Wie geht's, mein Freund? Penny. Parrot Head. Snortapoopas Cuber. Bush McFadden. Glenn Fleming. Keto Simple and Awesome One. Thank you all for being in the chat today. I deeply appreciate it. Hope everybody enjoyed talking about this film. I don't know. Did we have very many people watching today? Because I don't know how many people even know about this movie. That's not why I do it. I do it because I love talking about these movies.
Yeah,
If people show up, that's awesome.
It was a great movie, but it really doesn't have the legs that some others from the same era do, which is a shame because it is a very good movie.
And in many ways, we hoped there would be a sequel because it says there would be at the end, but that was one of those jokes like Spaceballs too.
Exactly.
You know, a movie that should never exist in the world. And I never watched it, and I don't ever want to see it. I heard it wasn't funny. It's got what's her name in it? Yeah, Spaceballs 2.
Oh, Spaceballs 2. No, I
Does
didn't like
that
Spaceballs.
exist?
I didn't like Spaceballs 1.
Yeah, Spaceballs 2 does exist. It really does.
Oh God. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said Spaceballs 2. I meant History of the World Part 2.
Ah, okay.
Oh God, yeah, that's a movie that never
The first one
should have been made.
Should have happened. And it's got Wanda Sykes in it. And she's one of the most annoying, unfunny human beings I've ever had the misfortune of hearing. I cannot stand that woman's voice. Just so fucking annoying. So I hope Mel learned his lesson and doesn't do because History of the World Part 2 is supposed to be Jews in space. Jews in space. Thank God it didn't happen. Spaceballs 2 never happened. Never. Leave it alone. Let it die. To be honest, the movie was a bit above me as a kid, but I was born after it was made. Not to mention, you were probably short. Nothing.
Oh yeah, I had something for you.
I made fun of what's his name, Peter Dinklage. I said, he made some mistakes that started showing up when he played Harvey Velasquez. I said he suffered from a different kind of dwarfism, and he shouldn't have played that part. He was wrong for the part. I said, and after that, he just took this typical dive that so many Hollywood people do when they get a little too big for their own fucking britches, which is something he's never done before. And plus, I don't think it's that big a fall for him.
Yeah, we had that conversation on Twitter.
Yeah, you were there for that when I said it.
I was there for that.
Yeah, you were why I made that joke, because it seemed like you went too serious, and I made sure that was a joke. And I wrote, that was a joke. Stop being serious. That was a joke.
Right. Oh, I knew the joke. I was like, no. He actually was in a very powerful position at one point, which is what made his
damage
comments
to that community of
exactly.
actors.
That was my point.
He hurt them.
Yeah, he hurt the community, and how many people did he cost
Those
jobs?
People struggle to find work.
Yeah.
And the other thing, you remember what I said? He doesn't understand he's not a leading man. He is a character actor.
Right.
He is only really going to be good in certain kinds of roles. Right. And anything past that, not a joke, but it is funny, a stretch.
Right. Yeah. He stepped in it with that and hurt a lot of people who have not had the opportunity
in the dwarf community.
Yes.
He made enemies in the dwarf community when he did it.
Yes, he did.
And I don't know. And I think I said that last night. I don't think he can recover from what he did. I really don't. And he did damage to what it was made with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's because of him that happened.
Yes.
He caused that.
Yep.
So there's no such thing as little parts, just little actors.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm going to end on that one. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Night, folks.
This episode has been brought to you by Inner Dinklage Sailor. just the right sports bet. This episode has also been brought to you by Number 6.